Hey everybody, it is late at night and I am Norman. You have $5,000 sitting in a bank account dedicated to buying watches, and you've decided it is time. Tonight I want to go over 3 different strategies that you can take in spending $5,000 on watches. And when I'm done, I'll give you my take on what I personally would do with that money. So let us begin. Everybody is different, and that includes us watch nerds. There are some of us who actually want to find the one watch and be done, and that's the only watch they own for the rest of their life. However, the rest of us are hunters, and I've tried to keep that in mind as I came up with these different strategies. I've tried to keep them open-ended. I mean, you do realize that if you're a hunter and you get your Grail watch, that isn't the end of it. You will be hunting again in the future. So I've tried to leave some money left over in each of these strategies as sort of a starting point for saving for your next watch, or if something comes up that you just have to have. Throughout this video, I'll give you some examples of different watches and their pricing. I'll be pulling pricing from Chrono24 wherever possible, otherwise from the brands themselves, and in rare cases from the gray market, Joma Shop, and others. So let's begin looking at 3 different strategies for blowing your $5,000 on watches. Strategy number 1, building an entire watch collection from scratch. I'm sure you've heard people talk about the perfect watch collection or the well-rounded watch collection. This is the idea that you have a collection of watches that cover various things that come up in your life. So an example might be you have a dress watch for weddings, graduations, job interviews, dressy events like that. You also have the everyday wear watch. And this is kind of dressy, but it's a lot tougher. It's kind of in between. You could wear it to the office, you could wear it at home, you could wear it on vacation. Then you have the tool watch. And this could be divided into a field watch, or a dive watch, or both. Or just a military watch of some sort. Oftentimes, a beater watch is thrown in there also. And these are inexpensive, easy to replace watches that you can just beat the crap out of until they die. It doesn't matter. So my idea with strategy number 1 is to start from nothing and build a well-rounded watch collection using $5,000. For this strategy, here are the types of watches I've chosen. A dress watch, an everyday wear watch, a field watch, and a dive watch. I did not include a beater watch because those should be inexpensive and easy to replace. So I figure you could buy one of those with the money that's left over or save for one later on. The dress watches, I have allocated $2,000 to the dress watch so that you could get something nice. And the watches that I've chosen for that category are the Nomos Orion, which comes in at $1,850. Next, I've chosen the Baume & Mercier Classima, which comes in at $2,000. And I've also chosen the Longines Dolce Vita, which comes in at $1,362. The last dress watch that I've chosen is the Frederique Constant Slimline Power Reserve, and this comes in at $1,650. For the everyday wear watch, I have allocated $500 to this type of a watch. And the watches that I've chosen for this category are the Seiko Presage Cocktail Time, and that comes in at $349. The next watch that I chose is the Orient Bambino, vintage style. This comes in at $206. The next watch is the Timex Marlin reissue, and this goes for $194. The last watch in this section is the Citizen Stiletto, which comes in at $230. The next section is the Field Watch, and for this section I've allocated $500. The watches that I chose as examples of field watches that you could buy to build this collection are the Hamilton Khaki Field, of course. That comes in at $400. I've also chosen the CWC G10 Sapphire, and this comes in at $408. And the next watch that I've chosen is the Smith's PRS 29A. Of course I chose that watch, and that comes in at $553.53. The last watch in this section is the Marathon WW194009, and this comes in at $200. For the dive watch section, I have allocated $1,500 just because I think $1,000 isn't quite enough. That extra $500 will help out quite a bit. The watches that I've chosen for this category are the Christopher Ward C60 Sapphire, and that could be the blue or their brand new black one, whatever you choose. That comes in at $1,030. The next watch that I chose is the Yema Superman. This comes in at $1,471. The next watch is the Marathon M-SAR, or if you want a larger watch, the G-SAR. That comes in at $810. The larger one comes in at $1,170. The last dive watch that I chose is the Oris Divers 65. And that, if you hunt for it, you can find it for $1,445. And that leaves us with roughly $500 to spend as we see fit. And we've built a well-rounded watch collection, blowing our $5,000. Perfect. Strategy number 2, the Yin and Yang collection. And my idea here is you could buy a dress watch and a tool watch. That way, you're able to dedicate a decent amount of money to each and get really nice watches. And those two should cover any event you need. You have a dress watch for dressy occasions and a tool watch that's tough enough to handle all the other stuff. For this strategy, here's how I've allocated the funds. $2,000 for a dress watch and $3,000 for a tool watch. Now, on the examples that I have here, I've gone over or under in the price. So it's entirely possible that when we're done, there's still some money left over in the bank. So in that sense, it's kind of still open-ended. So let's look at the examples I have for the dress watch. The first one that I've chosen is the Vintage Universal Genève 1969 842101. And this goes for $1,537. The next watch that I've chosen is the Louis Erard Heritage Dress Watch, and this goes for $1,642. The next watch I chose is the Nomos Ludwig, and this goes for $1,620. And the last dress watch I chose is the Badat & Co. No. 7, and this goes for $2,425. For the tool watches, I've chosen a couple for this one. The first one is the Omega Seamaster 300, which if you look you can actually find for $2,886. I've also chosen the Tudor Black Bay, and this goes for $3,475. So just a little bit over our budget, but if we offset that with a cheaper dress watch, there you go. Strategy number 3, the splurge. And this is for either the excessive hunter who just has to be on the prowl for a new watch, or for the person who's saving for a Grail watch. My idea here is you spend some money on a decent everyday wear watch, and the rest of it goes back into the bank or gets blown on cheap Russian watches or something. So here is how I've allocated this strategy. $1,500 for a decent everyday wear watch. And the watches that I chose as examples for this are the Christopher Ward Sandhurst, which sells for $1,080. The next one is the Nomos Club, which sells for $1,550. And the last watch that I chose is the Bell Fireman Enterprise Auto, and this goes for $1,189. And all the rest of that money can be set aside for your Grail watch or spent on whatever watch comes your way. Either way. You may be wondering, what would I do? Well, first off, I really need to be saving for my Grail watch, which is a Reverso monoface. However, if I was forced to spend the money, number one, I wouldn't want to end up with a pile of cheap, crappy watches. And two, I would like to have plenty of money left over in the bank. That way I can either save for a Grail watch or just in case something really intriguing comes my way. So what I would probably do is go for one dress watch, one everyday wear, and one tool watch. And the pieces that I would probably choose are, for the dress watch, the Nomos Ludwig. What I love about this watch is it has a dress watch case to it, and yet it has the crazy Bauhaus lugs on it. So it's a little bit less dressy than the Orion, but it's more dressy than the Bauhaus pieces. For my everyday wear, I'm also going to go with the Nomos, and that would be the Nomos Club. These watches are so amazing looking. I love the pops of color in some of the variants of them, and they're tougher. They aren't full-on dress watches. They truly are everyday wear watches. For the third one, it would have to be the Smith's PRS 29A, because that watch is still my favorite of all the watches that I currently own. So after that, I would still have plenty of money sitting in the bank. What kind of strategies do you follow in blowing copious amounts of money on watches? Leave those in the comments, And thanks for watching.